to me, the image of a kaleidoscope came up because eating and weight's so complicated and there's so much to it. So, you know, we can look at someone's relationship with food and eating, and it's also useful for us to look at their script and their attachment style and how food and eating relates to their attachment and their life script. And also that very often what people bring to us when they come with an eating or weight issue is that they bring the behavior that they're struggling with, rather than, which is of course a symptom of what's wrong, rather than our work is around finding out what's underneath the symptom and what's contributing. And also that we have to think about shame, because shame is the foundation of eating and weight, and shame is also unique to each individual. So our recipe, if you like, or our approach, although there'll be key concepts and key things that we'll think about, will be different from for everybody we work with. So I think it's actually a really challenging thing to look at. So my approach, if we look at the model, the Nourish model that I've written, and that's in the TAJ in April, the April edition of TAJ, that it is an integrative approach that looks at both addressing safety and behaviour issues and a relational approach within what I call a relational realm. So the relational realm, if you like, encompasses everything we do in that integrative model. So the most important thing for us to do is to think about relationship, but also relatedness. And that's actually both central and on the outside. It sort of holds the client, if you like, when we work with them. And I think that's different to what's there in other literature and in other approaches, which are more behavioural or more cognitive. I think the other thing that's probably paralleled all of my practice is the fact that I combine both my lived experience of being what Allback would call identifying as a fat woman, practicing with, so I experience being overweight and working with being overweight alongside working with people who are underweight, overweight, or have some sort of eating issue. So the lived experience is quite key, because I've also worked and understood my own relationship with eating and food. And I think that's really important for anyone wanting to approach working with eating and weight. It's a really interesting question, because I think what's happened alongside my reflecting and thinking about my practice in this area is that, of course, what's been central to my own experience and writing in the TAJ is actually learning to come to terms with my own shame and learning to be more visible. And I think visibility is an important part of learning about shame, because shame happens when people are seen or not seen. So one of the things that I've been thinking about a lot recently is how our work with eating and weight ultimately ends up in someone having a better relationship with an understanding of their own shame. So it's not that shame doesn't happen, but it's that what we hope for the client is that they learn to respect themselves differently, to have more integrity for themselves, and therefore when shame happens, to deal with it differently. Three things I was thinking. There's being able to start to talk about shame. So being able to find the words and put words, create a narrative, being able to understand shame, and then being able to be more at peace with it and have more respect and deal with it differently. I think I was thinking about, in writing the course, what I was thinking about was how That would be helpful for people to have knowledge and more confidence in working with eating and weight in private practice. Because I think eating and weight issues are becoming more and more prevalent. Most folk, I see from my supervisees that a lot of folk have eating and weight issues coming to the practice in one form or another. So I thought it'd be helpful to have more knowledge and more confidence. And so, and you're right, the course will be very experiential, be packed with case material for us to analyse and look at together and practice using the model. Quite a lot of work on shame and thinking about shame from different perspectives. So that we can build a bridge to working with shame within the relationship in that way. So I think, although it's primarily about eating and weight, it would also be interesting for anyone who wants to work more closely with shame too. Often in private practice, I think that the eating and weight issues are secondary, because it's not until the client's actually established a strong therapeutic bond with you as a therapist that they're able to tell you about it. So very often they are secondary. And so often I hear that from supervisees too. It's quite simple. People need to go to the Connexus website and look at the CPD courses that you have.